the Chairperson Standing Committee, this is the Divisional Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bills number 10 of 2025. The mover is the Majority Leader. You may proceed to reply.
Mr. Speaker, I was wondering whether I've been sacked without notice. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you. I have listened to colleagues the last 2 days, and I must say, Mr. Speaker, that there is hope for devolution. I am particularly impressed, Mr. Speaker, by the resolute nature in which each and every senator has addressed himself or herself with regard to division of revenue for 2025. Mr. Speaker, I am particularly impressed as well by the fact that everybody has vowed on the floor that 405 is not an option. I am equally happy, Mr. Speaker, by the work that has been done by our members of Budget and Finance Committee and the proposal that they have agreed to lead us as a House. Because, Mr. Speaker, we must take a decision as a House. We must ask ourselves whether, if devolution was to die, Mr. Speaker, on which side of the blame will we be? Will we just join the mourning party, or we will stand guilty as charged together with those that will have brought devolution, Kenya's biggest glue that binds this country together, to its death? I must appreciate, Mr. Speaker, that I am acutely aware of the tight fiscal space that we find ourselves in as a country. That I know very much. And I have been consistent and clear. If you check the records of this House, Mr. Speaker, especially with regards to management of our economy and the biggest struggle that we find ourselves in, which is a debt distress, Mr. Speaker, you will find that I have been as clear as daylight, Mr. Speaker. When the motion was brought to this House about 5 or 6 years ago to increase our debt ceiling from 5 trillion to 10 trillion, I opposed that motion, Mr. Speaker. Moved by Senator Pogisio, seconded by Minority Leader then Senator James Orengo in this House, Mr. Speaker. And we predicted very well, because at that particular time, Mr. Speaker, I was a member of Budget and Finance Committee, that there will come a time where we will not be able to meet our financial obligations because of that kind of unchecked borrowing. We are now in that particular space, Mr. Speaker, where we are struggling to pay debt, and therefore we are told we must tighten our belts. I agree, tighten our belts we will, but you cannot begin tightening your belts from those that consumed the least, which is devolution. If it is tightening our belts, Mr. Speaker, then let us see that action commensurate with regards to the budget that is left with the national government, Mr. Speaker. And that is why senators have spoken and have said that 450 is a minimum, and that we are very clear about, Mr. Speaker. Our Committee on Budget and Finance has proposed 465. That is even better, Mr. Speaker. And because our colleagues in the National Assembly have told us that you have no business looking into the budget of the national government, Mr. Speaker, we have said, fine. We don't want to know what details entails therein. But at least give us 465, we take back to the 47 devolved units, then find the money to run your operations in the rest of the departments and state organs, Mr. Speaker. Because if somebody does not stand up for devolution, Mr. Speaker, devolution will be killed. And I wish, Mr. Speaker, Senator Moses Kajwang was here, because he walked out just maybe to attend to something when I was rising to speak. Because I said the other day, Mr. Speaker, that yes, we are concerned by the audit reports that continue to be brought to this House. And before the end of last session, members, if you recall, we hurriedly passed resolutions of about almost all the 47 county governments' audit reports, you know, because of an imposition of a timeline by the courts, Mr. Speaker. And we said we shall find time to revisit, to check on, Mr. Speaker, the operations of our specific county governments. That exercise needs to happen and happen now. I know, Mr. Speaker, that there are members of CPIC, County Public Accounts Committee, that are in this House. I want to request them with a lot of humility that you must lead the exercise, because this is ordinarily your work. This is the work that this House has charged you with the responsibility of, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that once we have done the battle and have brought the goods home, that they are used prudently for the improvement of the welfare of our citizens, Mr. Speaker. We went out to point, Mr. Speaker, if you recall that particular debate on that afternoon, and I do remember, Mr. Speaker, because I made a contribution just like all my colleague senators, Mr. Speaker, that there were certain glaring maladministration issues that were coming out distinctively clear in almost all the 47 county governments without fail, Mr. Speaker. The issue of minimal disposition of resources, Mr. Speaker, hardly 20%. Many counties are using up only 15 to 22% at the maximum, Mr. Speaker, towards actual development expenditure, Mr. Speaker. That means close to 80% is going to recurrent expenditure. That is not tenable. That cannot be viable, Mr. Speaker. And I want us to reflect on the speech made by Prime Minister Raila this morning, Mr. Speaker, in this House, about the journey of devolution and why we as a Senate must always stand and defend. It must be recalled, Mr. Speaker, that on those particular reports that we considered here as well, we were reminded that many of our county governments, I think 35, if I'm not wrong, out of 47 of our counties were spending more than half the resources that we devolved, Mr. Speaker, on paying salaries. Surely, Mr. Speaker, then why should you want to be called a governor? Your name should be turned to Paymaster General, that you are just a salaries payment officer. If you are disposing more than half the shareable revenue that is due to your county, Mr. Speaker, to pay salaries alone. And I have said that this business, Mr. Speaker, of telling us that, oh, you know, in 2013, we inherited members of staff from the defunct municipal councils, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, we have to find ways of paying them. Surely, this is almost 15 years since that exercise happened. What is your contingency plan? And I want to tell you, members, if we wait that our county governors file that particular plan on the route to achieving the statutory 35%, Mr. Speaker, on spend on recurrent expenditure, Mr. Speaker, it will never happen. We are the ones who passed Regulation 25 of PFM, Mr. Speaker, on how much each county is supposed to spend. We are the ones that are charged with the mandate of enforcing it. I want to urge you, honorable members, particularly members of Budget and Finance Committee who brought us this wonderful report, that you must lead us in an exercise where we have a conversation and we sit down and pass regulations, Mr. Speaker, so that if a county government does not file a plan through which they aim or they head, you know, Mr. Speaker, prudent use of public resources is not an event. It is a process. There is a way through which you grow your numbers. If today you are at 47%, Senator Faki, because if I recall, that is the number that your county Mombasa was at, Governor Abdul Swamad must file before this House the plan that they have for the next 3, 4, 5, or even 6 years as a county government to move towards attainment of the statutory 35%. But if this year is 47, next year is 48, the year after that it becomes 50, surely even us as a House, aren't we complicit in the maladministration that is going on in our counties, Mr. Speaker? We have been reminded this afternoon, Mr. Speaker, that there are many, these initiatives that keep on popping up, collaborations between county government and national government. First of all, there were KIPES, Mr. Speaker. You go and check what plans are being done by the county governments. You know, KIPE was conceptualized in Nairobi, and that's why we must move away from these plans that are conceptualized in the well-seed rooms here in Nairobi, but have no meaning or connection whatsoever with the challenges that people face in the village. If you go today to your county, youth leader Senator Oburu, and ask yourself, what is the plan that is being made to make sure that the KIPE that is being built in your county will actually be of service to the people of Siaya? Chances are there is absolutely nothing. And if you ask the governor, rightfully so, he will say, but I was not consulted. I was just told, give a matching fund of 250 million. And we too, we cannot plead innocence because we participated in passing a division of revenue that ensured that each county contributed 250 million. The same, I think with the exception of Nairobi. The same can be said about this what are these community health promoters? Surely, if the only thing they earn is a salary, why does somebody need to keep that money at Ministry of Health here at Afya House instead of sending all that money? And we can calculate. We know what is the stipend. Why surely? What is this obsession that we have in our country with holding on to resources that you don't need? Even people's salary. At least we know, even if you're looking for a kickback, Senator Eddy, there is no kickback in people's salary. At least send that one out. And therefore, good people, I want to ask of us that as we consider division of revenue, let us passionately fight and stand up for devolution. Because this is the last battalion of defense. If you let this country down, Mr. Speaker, there is no likelihood whatsoever that anybody will ever remember that there was need. We understand that there are challenges, Senator Mogeni. Devolution is not as popular as CDF. That is a fact. Nobody doesn't, it's not rocket science. And it's for obvious reasons. CDF is managed separately. And we must be able to learn, even us, and appreciate that what is it that has made CDF to be as popular as it is. Of course, it's the fact that they don't utilize the level of human resource that we utilize in our counties. That is why 98% of that fund goes to actual budgetary programs, things that are tangible and people can see. You know, schools, and I don't know what, things that ordinary citizens would wish to identify with. But you know, when you're a county government and 50% of the 10 billion you receive is paying 3,000-4,000 people in a county of 1 million people, then people will say, wrap these things up, we don't want them. Therefore, part of defending devolution is to ensure that we make it work in the way that it was designed. And the way that it was designed is to make sure that people feel resources getting into their pockets. So I want to urge as colleagues, as we begin this conversation and the reawakening that we have, we must all stand together and appreciate that there will be challenges, that we may not achieve that which we set out to achieve immediately or at the time of first asking. But surely and certainly, Mr. Speaker, as a House, we must make a firm decision that is in the best interest of the country. You know, yesterday, Mr. Speaker, I watched something, or I think it was 2 days ago, the former Budget and Appropriations Committee Chair of the National Assembly. I think he was addressing himself to quite a number of issues, and I began to appreciate that no wonder we have the challenges that we have. You know, there is something that the late President, Mr. Speaker, President Mwai Kibaki, used to speak about people being suddenly very clever. And I saw the gentleman trying to tell us, oh, you know, we should not borrow. Even the budget that we are using in this financial year, it is that gentleman actually who passed it on the floor of the National Assembly with a fiscal deficit of almost 5%. How is it that suddenly he has discovered that borrowing is bad? This House has been pushing and insisting. Read, Mr. Speaker, our BSP report for the last 10 years. Senate has always maintained that don't have a fiscal deficit of above 3.3%, including the report that we passed here. As Senate, we have been quite clear on these things. Our colleagues who have been on the other side, on the National Assembly, cannot be the ones that are lecturing the country at this particular time and telling us, oh, you don't need to do this, we have borrowed this much. We have borrowed because you know you passed a budget that has a deficit of close to 1 trillion shillings. And there is no other way of meeting it, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, much as we want to have this conversation, it cannot be that because you are no longer wanted by your colleagues, Mr. Speaker, that you suddenly now want to talk down on everybody and tell us, oh, this and that is not right. I don't know, we are being told NSSF should not do this or the other. Mr. Speaker, you know, I found even that to be extremely ignorant. You know for a fact that here in Nairobi, just a kilometer from where we are gathering, NSSF of Tanzania are putting up an investment, I think, of close to 40 billion Kenya shillings because pension funds world over are looking for opportunities to invest. The problem with us as a country is that we think that it is the work of NSSF to only build houses and sell to citizens. Therefore, no wonder our pension scheme has never grown. A small country, a country with a smaller economy like Uganda, has a bigger pension fund than ours because of innovativeness in their thoughts, Mr. Speaker. And I saw this gentleman telling us, oh, don't build roads, don't do this or the other. Do people know, for example, that this expressway is built by savings from other pensioners in China, who today, when we use the expressway, earn from us. Then you are telling us that our own cannot invest when opportunities come. Spare us this kind of lectures, Mr. Speaker. You know, Mr. Speaker, we have to be bold in our decision making and ensure that we are honest and truthful to the country, even as we have conversations about what is it that we can do about our economy. The last thing, Mr. Speaker, even on the securitization of roads, and I want to challenge you members. If you go to the Ministry of Roads and Transport today, there is a gentleman who's the Minister for Roads, C.S. Davis Chirchir. On his dashboard, he is able to show you the investment that has been done by the 3 road agencies in this country. If that thing does not make you boil when you look at it, and I think I'll ask that document be tabled here in Parliament one day. You know, because I'm saying this because I saw the member of Kiharu, that former member of, chair of Budget and Finance Committee, saying that we should not securitize roads levy so that we build roads in other parts of the country. Yet he knows, last financial year alone, in his own constituency, he sent 14 billion Kenya shillings to one constituency. The whole of my own county, has hardly, you know, then somebody tells us, oh, don't securitize. You know, this loan conversation about repayments of loans, Mr. Speaker, one day we will have to be honest with each other. You know, when I tell my people of Kericho that the reason you can't have sufficient development is because you are repaying loans, they ask you, loans for what? Because they cannot see. One day we will just say, tabulate what is in your county and pay. So that we see. You know, Mr. Speaker, hypocrisy must end in this country. Part of the reason why I love the broad-based government is that we said we want to be honest and end the politics of hypocrisy and politics of blackmail, Mr. Speaker, such as what I saw that young man trying to pursue. You cannot put 14 billion in your constituency, then you come and tell the rest of us who are dealing with bad and poor roads that we cannot look for money to build roads for our own people, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I hope that I am still responding to comments made by my colleagues on division of revenue. But I just thought about it and I said, this country, sometimes you follow things and you wonder. We want equity. There's a point that I said that perhaps was lost. I said, and my colleagues, if it is not so difficult to establish, because now we are doing, in the new formula, the 4th generation formula, we are doing, there's an element called the gross county product. How much a county has been able to produce. What will you produce if you have not been enabled by the national government, Mr. Speaker? You can't produce if you have no roads, if your people are not healthy. There are counties that have 7 level 5 hospitals, while in most of the rural counties, like from where most of us come from, has only 1. And it is a level 5 by name only. Or counties that do not have. Therefore, if people want us to measure the productivity of every county, let us also measure the investment of national government in those counties, Mr. Speaker. So that we are able to know that we have put 100 billion in County X, and therefore we expect a return factor of this much. If the investment by national government is 1 billion in my county, they should not expect anything, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, this is a moment that we have to be honest and sincere with each other. The reason division of revenue is important and why Senate cannot come down from 400, the request of 465, Mr. Speaker, is that at least we know what we divide in this House, Mr. Speaker, is equally and equitably shared across all our 47 county governments. That cannot be said of the budget that remains in the other House. And therefore, if it was even possible, Mr. Speaker, we would actually put most of our resources in this House so that we share equitably across the 47 county governments, and the other one which people want to play games with, the little part of it, remains in the other House. Since that is not possible, let us at least begin with this 465, Mr. Speaker. The rest can come later. With those very many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to reply. Finally, Mr. Speaker, in accordance to Standing Order number 66-1, unless the whips, Senator Sifuna and Boni, can tell me that we can raise the numbers to pass this division of revenue. I don't think we have sufficient. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, in accordance to Standing Order 66.3, I want to request. they have already told me, Mr. Speaker, that it is not possible to raise 24 delegations on a Thursday afternoon. Therefore, I request that the putting of the question be deferred until a later date. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The putting of the question is deferred. Next order.